Good afternoon and good morrow to thee, my loyal subjects. My name is MiAh the King, and today we're taking a look at a game called Noble Fates. It came out today on Steam in early access, and we're going to look into it and see if it's worth our time and money. That's right, we're looking at another independent game with independent developers. So to start us off with real quick, the game is developed and published by Sobermon, LLC, and is described on the Steam store page as follows. A 3D fantasy kingdom sim driven by intelligent characters with a rich simulation of opinions and memories. Build, craft, farm, mine, hunt, defend, and more. Command from the sky or take control in third person as your story goes where the people, your actions, and their reactions take it. Now, this game really wasn't holding my attention too much, and I was just kind of thinking of it like another colony sim, city builder, yada yada yada. You know, just a shrug and a meh and a passing thought. But then I decided to take a closer look at it. Turns out this game is promising us a few interesting things here. Now we're going to get into those a bit more, but the main one that I want to mention here and now, and I'll probably end up mentioning again, is the history mechanic that it introduces. Now this is very ambitious, and if done right, can be a pretty awesome thing. What do I mean when I say history mechanic? Well, I mean that in the game, history is what you make of it, basically. If you become a tyrant king who orders his people to become cannibals, then someone doesn't want to be a cannibal and you end up kicking them out or they run away, they can again, one day, several years in-game later, raise an army of paladins and come charging at your kingdom of cannibals, all because you kicked them out 3 years ago. According to the Steam store page, the people in this game remember the choices that you make and they remember outcomes that befall them. What can make them love your ruler or hate your ruler? See what I mean when I say it's an ambitious but promising mechanic? So, anyway, in this game, you are actually given a title, a purpose, a rule. A lot of these city builders either don't address the player, or if they do, they call you like an invisible mayor or something, or maybe just a random god, with no further explanation. And while this one technically kind of does that too, it is a little bit more in-depth. I mean, like, there's a plane of existence where mortals are trying to vie for domination over, right? And you're a demigod, a contra to be more exact. And along with several other gods, demigods, and demons, you are trying to use mortals there to expand, grow, and end up becoming the masters so that you can show off how powerful you are to the other deities. So, now that you know a little bit more about the game, let's go into the good and the bad. I highly recommend hanging around for this because the game could be a completely broken and buggy mess, and the only way you're going to know is if you pay attention from further on. Alright? So, first off, we're going to start out with the positives I found in this game because they're what struck out at me first. It also means that you're going to have to wait just a little bit longer before you hear the negatives that might be in this game. Number 1, the art style and graphics. I consider these pretty good. We're talking, this was a design choice, right? And for a design choice, I think it works really well. You know, it's not too serious, but it's also not too goofy. There's not too much attention to detail, but there's enough that you know what you're doing. Like, it's kind of similar to Minecraft level of detail. Clearly, that's a bat, but it barely looks like a bat. So you can make 1,000 of them. Know what I mean? It kind of works here. It's pleasant to the eyes, and you don't need to strain your eyes to be able to read anything or see anything, and I just didn't have any issues with that at all while I was playing. Number 2, the sound effects and the music. Now, while the sound effects aren't really much to write home about, I mean, they're basically just your standard sound effects that you'd expect to hear, the music, on the other hand, is very pleasant and fits the mood perfectly. Music can really help set a tone and can help immerse you into a game. I mean, just think about the first few minutes of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order and the music they had there. I mean, that really just set the tone and helped you get immersed immediately. You know, bad music is just as likely to ruin a game for you as good music is to enhance it. I firmly believe that. And the music here, very pleasant. Not too big and booming to distract you, but not so minuscule that you'll forget it and not really listen to it. It's just a nice kind of music that fits. Nothing too good or bad, but it fits. You know, it's in balance. Number 3, the overall gameplay here. So this is a bigger point, and I'm going to be going on for a while about this because there is a lot to go into here. The game makes you aware of your place by saying that you are a contra, a demigod controlling these people. Okay, fair enough, that makes sense. Then the game goes on to give you even more. There's a bit of a story here. Refugees who left a kingdom to start their own. They found a dead demigod's body, and using the crown that was on that dead demigod's body, one of them becomes king. That dead demigod is you, by the way, and you are now working through them, I'm guessing through the crown. Then, you have to build up your game from scratch. Build up your city and your people. It's kind of like Minecraft meets Banished or other colony sim style games. It's literally just from the beginning with nothing. Harvest, build, explore, and expand. But it's not just about building up a city. It's about communicating and trading with other kingdoms. It's about resisting bandits and demonic forces. It's about controlling your ruler and leading your troops into battle. There is a research tree here, a dialogue mechanic, reputation, and affection mechanics. I mean, there is a lot here that you need to pay attention to. Not only that, but your citizens grow levels as they progress, which enhance their basic skills, which make them better workers overall. Actually, I changed my mind. This is more like Minecraft meets RimWorld. That's probably a far better description of what's going on here. Because you can control your people in third person and go do stuff, gather whatever, build whatever, but you can also let them just do their own thing, and they'll have their own thoughts and personalities and whatnot, just like in RimWorld. They'll have their own arguments and yada yada yada. The game also does seem to have a bit of a history system, though. In my short amount of time, playing it was kind of hard to see, but my actions felt like they were being remembered and going to come back to bite me at some point. So overall, the gameplay here is pretty good. It's engaging, it's a little addictive, and for the most part, it's rather simple, but it can be complicated and confusing. Mostly because of just how much stuff there is. Just make sure to take it slow, pay attention, and take it seriously. Number 4. The attention to detail. Now this is not about its graphics, this is more about the level of intricacies the game gives. You can fully customize every building, do everything the way you want to do it, and make it all personally customized to you as the player. From the decor in a house to the farm ambiance outside. The clothes your people wear, their outlook on life. It's all tailored to meet your own personal customization choices. And those choices, along with their possible consequences, are all yours. It's actually a very personal way of looking at a game like this, and it really makes something that's yours. It's really unique, actually. So, that's all I got for the positives. Though there might only be 4, they were a big 4. Those 4 are the basis of almost everything you're going to be seeing or doing in this entire game, thus making them all very important. But now we're going to go on with the negatives, or just the things that actually kind of irked me while I was playing. But first, before that, I'd like to take a moment and humbly ask all of you wonderful viewers out there if you would like to do more than just be viewers. Every little bit of support that you guys give me is really amazing, and it really helps. But there's more that you can do besides just watching, although that does help a lot. So please, consider doing just a little bit more to support my channel. Share this video on social media, hit that like button, subscribe and hit the bell, leave me a nice comment. All these things would help me out phenomenally, and I would be so grateful. So please consider supporting my channel today. Now then, on to the negatives. Number 1, the tutorial. Now while this game does technically have something akin to a tutorial, they don't even call it a tutorial or treat it like one. They call it a guided story mode or something like that. It's a way for them to teach you the game while also including it into the gameplay and story of the game. Now normally, this would be amazing and it'd be in the positives. All my regular viewers should know how much I appreciate a good intuitive tutorial. However, here, the game only does half of what it should in its tutorial. The game tells you how to do things, but not what those things are, what the purpose is, what purpose they provide. Sure, some can be easily figured out, like build and stockpile and jobs. Those are pretty easy to figure out. But what about, learning, work, and kingdoms? Is work the same as jobs? Okay, you kind of think kingdoms like other kingdoms, okay, and a big map, fine, but it doesn't tell you anything more than that. And you don't see anything on the other map besides your kingdom, so what's the deal with that? And learning, is that a tech tree? As far as I know, there's no research. There's no tech tree kind of thing here. So if it is a tech tree, why can't I click on anything? Why can't I read anything here? Why can't I get a closer look at everything? Is it just showing what I learned already? But why does it need to be so complicated, though? And work, that's not building or scheduling. Then is it job assignments? But I already had a job one thing. So why do I have jobs and then I have work? I don't understand. Why? Now, even if you can figure all those out, there's far more that this tutorial just simply doesn't tell you about. I mean, I can't even accurately describe these issues to you because they just came and went so fast. I was just trying to click through the tutorial bits because the story wouldn't progress otherwise, and I couldn't figure out what these things were, so I just clicked what they told me to click and moved on. But I couldn't figure them out, and since I couldn't figure them out, I'm not going to bother remembering them. But basically, the tutorial part here just needs a bit more work, and it needs more explanation on a lot of different things. Otherwise, half the stuff that I learned I'm not even going to remember. Number 2. The game's UI, its user interface. This needs a redo as well. I can't tell what anything is besides the main icons at the bottom without clicking on them and finding it out. The game has a lot of weird functions I'm not too sure of or why they exist. Like, why make it so I have to go through a completely separate menu and navigate through it just to find one button to turn the roofs on and off so I can see inside the houses? What if I misplaced it? Or what if I'm not sure if I even put a roof on that house? Well, you're going to have to navigate through that menu to find the button to check every single time. And imagine when you've got a massive city with hundreds of buildings, Imagine what that's going to do to you when you have to turn that on and off. And why do I need a mechanic that lets me change the level I'm looking at? That doesn't really make much sense. Also, why is there a slowdown button? I mean, has anyone ever played a colony sim or a city builder game and wanted to make it go slower than normal time? I mean, if you have, then please let me know, and why? What is the purpose of doing that? Not only those things, but just overall, the UI is just a bit too complicated and a bit too confusing at times, and it just doesn't mesh very well. You gotta think about everything there is here. Personal inventory for every person. The overall stockpile of all your stuff. The stuff in the buildings. The stats of every little thing, including people. The several different tabs for each person with a lot of useless information I'll probably never use. This is a classic case of putting in far more detail than we players need. I'm sure some people will appreciate it, and I'm sure some people will be completely confused by all of it and either ignore it or ignore the game. It's just pretty wonky overall, and I wanted to make that clear. Number 3, the price. Damn it, the game was so close to having an appropriate price tag, but I see absolutely zero reason why this game is $25 and not $20. At $20, I wouldn't have had a single issue with this. I would have been very happy. We're talking an early release game here, a demo, a beta, something not even finished yet, and something that might never be finished by this indie company. So, why do they want so much money for something like this? With no voice acting either. It's just a little bit much. You know, only a little bit. Just $20 would have been fine. Just put it back to $20. Come on, guys. So, yeah. That's it. Honestly, that's about all the negatives I could think of about this game. But those, like the positives, are also pretty big. So even if there are only 3, they are a big 3. Mostly because, again, like the positives, they intertwine themselves within most of this gameplay you're going to have here. So what are my overall thoughts? Well, I think it's a pleasant little game. It's clearly early access, and it's clearly going to need some work, but the simple fact is, this is a nice, fun little colony simulator, city builder kind of game, but it's more personal and in-depth than a lot of others out there. It's not just getting to know your builders and your citizens, it's controlling them and managing them and using them and creating a history with them. And along with a bunch of other stuff. You know, it's like RimWorld, where you're given these people and then able to get to know them as you rule over them and kind of watch them as they interact with each other and the world. But unlike in RimWorld, things here are just a bit slower and a bit more complicated. So, if you liked RimWorld, then this would probably be a good little game for you to try out. If you like colony sim games or city builder games, then again, this is a good little one to try out. But a word of warning, this game is a bit complicated, it's a lot slower than other games of this type that I've played, it might have too much information for you to deal with, and it takes the game forever to do anything. But like with all things, if you take the time to learn the game, and if you have patience in the beginning when things are at their slowest, then you're in for an interesting little ride. Plus, the game has its own weird little sense of humor, which is nice, and it has the potential to give you tens of hours of playtime and lots of replayability. Overall, let me end it with this. If you're looking for a laid-back city builder game with some definite immersive capabilities where you just chill and enjoy customizations and getting to know your people, then this game is a really good one for you to try out. But if you're looking for something simpler or something faster paced, then I would give this game a pass. And if you're watching this video right now thinking that it looks a little boring, or thinking that $25 is a bit much for this, then I would definitely say wait for a discount, but still then check it out. I personally disagree with the price tag, and I personally have issues with the user interface. But besides those two things, and the overall speed of the game, I don't have a lot of other issues here. While this game may ultimately not be made for someone like me, I can definitely see the potential here, and I can see that this game could turn into something amazing. So maybe give it a chance anyway. What you see is what you get though, just keep that in mind when you decide to check it out. So that's all I got for this video, everyone. Thank you all so much for tuning in and supporting my channel. Don't forget to show me some further support by hitting that like button, subscribe button, or leaving me a comment. Thanks again for watching, and I can't wait to see you all again on my next adventure. So until then, I bid you all farewell.